Remember our outline for Journeys here at Journey.net 2.0? We start with be honest. And when it comes to joy, being honest about needing it, that's pretty easy. Still, there's a pretty big temptation for some Christians to try and pretend they have what they don't. They try to act happy and at peace with the world when inside life is crumbling. Do you know that some people act very differently at church or around their Christian friends than they do in other places? Okay, maybe that's not the most shocking newsflash, but why is that true? Why do people sometimes act like everything's wonderful when they're at church and then go home to a mess? I think I can be pretty sure I'm right when I say that Jesus doesn't intend things to be that way. In fact, the core reason why he set up the church was to be a place of love, a place where we find strength and encouragement in the face of our trouble. He never intended the church to be a place where we couldn't acknowledge our pain or for fear that someone might think less of us or decide that, we're not very spiritual. That's crazy, but it happens all the time. You're never going to find joy if you won't admit that you need to find it. If pride keeps you from acknowledging your need to other believers, pride will block any hope you have of finding lasting joy. Oh, you'll have some good moments along the way, but just like your friends who don't know God, those moments probably aren't going to last long. Mainly because you're failing to access the life God wants to give you. I should also mention that, some Christians think there are shortcuts to joy. They think that praying a certain way will eliminate their hurts or shield them from disappointments. So they decide, if I follow the advice of this leader, I shouldn't have to deal with such negative stuff. And if I've got no negative stuff, well, then I ought to be able to have joy all the time. Well, joy that's built on the absence of heartache is a very shallow kind of joy. It's not going to last. Like tiptoeing across a thin layer of ice, it's only a matter of time before the crackling becomes a crash. The road to joy starts with acknowledging that we need joy. When I confess that need to God, the door begins to open for Him to help me. When I admit that life is difficult and, that I'm not handling it very good, then God can help me. He won't force joy on me or start fixing things that I haven't handed to Him. You see, each of our journeys starts with honesty. And as friends following Jesus, we ought to be able to be honest about the needs we have, the things we're facing. If we can't, maybe we're not operating quite like Jesus intended. So it starts with be honest. Join me in part 3 of this series for our critical second step.